I would expect something would come before that August 1st drop dead date where he's threatened other nations with tariffs kicking in. So it seems like this might be a blanket letter for all the other countries that are maybe medium or smaller sized economies, that they would be facing this 10 to 15% rate. And so you add that up to, in addition to the other countries, and also these industry-specific tariffs that are coming around the same time on things like pharmaceuticals and chips. And we're talking about, once again, Trump ratcheting up the tariff pressure.
I'm glad that you brought up sector-specific tariffs. These are the ones enacted under Section 232 on national security concerns. We're waiting for a bunch of them. Pharmaceuticals, chips. Do we have any clarity on the timeline? Because President Trump had previously said that perhaps they would be enacted later in some cases to give industry the ability to reshore our supply chains. But it seems like he's ramping up the timeline here.
Certainly. This week he said that pharmaceutical tariffs could come as soon as the end of this month. And that timeline surprised a lot of people who thought that was a complicated issue that would take a lot more time to iron out. Now, the rate that the pharmaceutical companies could face in the beginning, they've telegraphed could be lower than what they could eventually be in a year or two's time, which is 200%. And that's an astronomical rate. And so that would is designed to increase pressure on them to reshore manufacturing. Easier said than done when all is taken into account.
Well, when we consider the tariff policy and the way in which it's feeding into the U.S. economy, we know that President Trump has signaled that inflation data looks good. He keeps saying there's no inflation. And I guess in the case of PPI yesterday on the headline, that was true. Retail sales data today looks strong, maybe helping the administration make this case that tariffs aren't a bad thing. Therefore, what's holding back the Federal Reserve? How should we consider the Fed's response to tariff policy, specifically in the way in which the president is talking about Chairman Jerome Powell?
Yeah, it's interesting. Looking at it from the outside, it does seem like they're playing this game of telephone where Jerome Powell is repeatedly telling Donald Trump, look, we'd have more clarity on the impact on inflation of tariffs if you would settle on a tariff policy. And then Donald Trump refusing to take that signal and repeatedly changing the dates and the rates and what is getting tariffed by the week. And so that doesn't give Jerome Powell and the central bank certainty about their monetary policy when the policy on the Trump side of it is changing all the time.